So, how can you help when you reach out to a person, when you're starting to talk to, for example, nakita tayo sa event, or let's say, eto, isang session, tapos question. Most of the time, people has this tendency na ikwento yung buong, what do you naman? So, about themselves, right? You introduce yourself. But sometimes, how you build connections is be interested in the other person and see how you can add value to that person. Kasi
Yeah.
that is how you will be remembered.
Yeah. Welcome to Kaka-Computer mo yan. We have an interesting topic today. So, your network is your net worth. No? So, it's really about the power of connections in shaping your success. Let's start it off. So, anyone, how has networking played a role in your career growth? Ano pa ta? Oldest to youngest?
Ako na mauuna. Sige.
Nag-volunteer na, nag-volunteer
Ako yung huli.
Oh.
I'm 18.
Alright.
Sige, in between.
Yeah.
In
In
between.
between.
Okay.
Alright. Sa akin from day one, kasi my first job, I got it from my computer subject prof. So I'm not a computer science graduate. I graduated from physics, but I actually shifted from engineering. My prof from engineering became the sort of CTO for this startup. And when it came to the time to find an OGT, I contacted him. I had my OJT in his company, and then after I graduated, I contacted him again, and that's how I got my first job. And absolutely, that was walang recruiter, may resume na naman ako sinubmit. Pero walang job board involved, walang ano. It was a phone call. It was the power of that kind of, I hope it's not a nepo hire. Naka-ano naman ako, mataas naman yung grade ko sa subject niya. And that's probably why he hired me. So, yeah. And I actually worked with him in 3 separate jobs after that. And he was
Wow.
always the one pulling me in. So in terms of network, it was really valuable to my career.
Interesting. Maybe you can share also because I actually suggested this topic, no. So, in the tech industry, yung mga panahon natin, hindi nyo na yan. There's not too many women that actually,
Yes.
attends meetups or yung mga, sa mga offices pa noon and things like that. So, it's trying to look, being the only woman in the management team, in the tech company at the time, I was trying to look for like, nasa na yung mga ka-tribe ko or something. So, it played a role when I thought of like, maybe it's time to organize a women's meetup and, to try to help and, create more visibility for women. Kasi to think, marami naman tayong women managers, even the presidents and things like that. But those who are attending the community, parang it's very rare at the time. Only 2, 3 out of 50, out of 20, So, I started reaching out to women that I actually don't know. And I started introducing myself na, hey, I'm planning to organize this meetup. Can you speak? And then when they start asking, like, what can you talk about? Like, it could be your expertise, how you learn programming and things like that. And then when I wanted somebody to sponsor or support that event, I started pitching it to some women in Google that I know. And I said, like, I have this idea and I've always wanted to organize this. Maybe this is something that you can support me. And from one Googler, 3 Googlers became, and eventually that played a huge role, in expanding my network, organizing more women. So Haifa was there. She was
Yes,
still a
yes,
student.
yes.
Oh my gosh, nagkakalabasan na mga edad. Anyways,
I remember her as a student as well.
to make that story short, I guess organizing that event and reaching out to people, I became visible in the Google community and the Googlers, and that led into hiring me to help manage and grow the community across APAC also. No, so having said that, I'm sure Haifa would have an interesting story as well.
Ayun. So, events, no? That's actually how I got my first job and even until the job that I have right now. that's the power of network for me. So from start to finish, it's really the network that I got. First job, it was really more of an event kasi I was that kind of student who likes to organize events. So when you organize events, you have no choice but to talk to the speakers. I talk to you, or how are you, or how was your flight, ganyan. So you talk to them. So for that was fourth year college. And then I was talking to one of the speakers. And it seems like the conversation, kahit hindi niya naman alam kung ano yung skill set ko, technical, which is super important, right? But at that time, I think you can learn. That was that was the mindset that he had. I think you can learn. And at that time, the role was iOS developer na wala pang existing sa company na yun. So I had to build it from ground up. Build that kind of trust na I think you're that kind of person who can learn or willing to learn. So I'll give you a shot. So I have to learn Objective-C from ground up, finding resources. And at that time, I don't have any mentors, so you have to write your own tutorials so you can record how you learn.
Those were the early days.
Yeah,
no?
that's
Not
kinda-
the access
Yeah.
to materials, right?
No access. But also, you try to go to events, find a mentor there. Hey, I'm
Yes.
doing this.
Yes,
Can you help me
mentors.
out? And then that kind of, you
It's
just
really
have to be very makapal yung mukha to talk to people so if you want to learn. And then, doing events, eventually I built that network already that there are people na, oh, this is what I'm doing in my company. And it so happened that you also know developers doing Android development, let's say.
Yeah.
And you found a company owner or a startup.
Yeah.
It's,
I'm
you try to
looking-
connect na. You became
Yeah,
the
you
connector.
became the
Exactly.
connector. And then at this point, how many years in the industry have I been? Most of the time, I don't go to recruiters na din. Kasi
Yes.
they're the ones looking. Oh, actually, if I'm looking for this role, are you interested? So, of course, sometimes I'm not looking right now. I'm busy or I'm interested in what I'm doing right now. Or if the time would come, actually, we have this opening. Are you interested? What is that role ba? So, interesting. Sige, let's try. So, those are the
It opens up a lot of
it just
possibilities.
opens. And you're not even looking for them.
And that's whether you're a student or a professional.
True.
That's true. Internship. And I also know a lot of people, they have a job, like they have a day job, but they like to do other side hustles, especially for projects or hobby projects that I enjoy. For example, my role right now is more in enterprise, but then they have side projects on game development. That's also something. And they get that from their network.
It's really important.
Yeah. Actually, all of you found a lot of value from your networks very early.
Yes.
I'm probably the opposite one because the value of my network only started to become apparent when I was already at that point that I needed to hire people. Okay,
Those who knows are really good, parang usually comes as referral.
Yes, not only that, that's actually one turning point for me that I realized that, holy crap, I don't know a lot of people when it comes to that space. I know, so I mean, because for the longest time, I guess it's because I have the developer mindset in me says, no, I can solo this. A lot of developers kasi tend to
Introverted.
I'm a very introverted guy.
Hindi obvious, pero
Slight lang.
So it became it became a deficiency, and at the same time, okay, I had to recognize that. Okay, now I'm having trouble getting people because I needed to grow a team. But also then at the same time, I realized, okay, there is value to actually tapping into my network to not do this alone. So when I needed help, and especially during the time that I needed help the most, it's actually my network that offered help rather than me just simply reaching out. They're the ones who offers me, okay, how can I help you? Okay. And that's actually one thing I wanted to segue that a good way to build network is to how do you help other people?
true. And very recently, we collaborated. JP pinged me like, do you know any UX designer, UI UX designer? And it said like being part of the UXPH community also. It's like, I have people in mind. So I'll connect you. So before I introduce, I ask permission first to the person. Hindi yung bastang, you put two people in one,
one GC.
group. Yeah, in one GC.
yeah.
There's still courtesy, right?
You have
So,
to, you have to,
and those who are starting, you have to learn that, you have to ask permission, the courtesy of
Yes.
things. And then, so I asked permission first from the people that I know. Like, there's a friend who has this kind of opportunity. Maybe he can discuss more details. I'll connect you. And if you're good, I can put you in one email or in one group, whether WhatsApp or other platforms, even in Facebook Messenger. So things like that, diba? It's beneficial.
KBS Switches started in 2020 with the mechanical keyboard community in mind, taking into consideration their need for an affordable and accessible market for already modified switches. Started with modified switches, has now expanded to offering modified mechanical keyboards. With this vision, KBS Switches wants to help hobbyists save time and resources in modifying their boards, giving them more room to enjoy their hobbies.
But like, what about your experiences like building meaningful connections?
Meaningful connections. I think that's how it starts talaga. How can you help?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, pag may
Yeah.
nag-reach out sa'yo, na, uy, hi, ganyan. Tapos, nagkantuhan nga kami kanina. Minsan yung mga tao magbe-message na hi and then wala na. So, parang, so ngayon, ikaw, ano to? So, you ask, how can I help? Ganon. So, how can you help when you reach out to a person, when you're starting to talk to, for example, nakita tayo sa event, or let's say, isang session, tapos question. Most of the time, people has this tendency na ikwento yung buong, what do you naman? So, about themselves, right? You introduce yourself. But sometimes, how you build connections is be interested in the other person and see how you can add value to that person. Kasi
Yeah.
that is how you will be remembered.
Yeah.
So, right now, kung ano yung experience, every person is unique right now. For example, ako, I am proud to say na I know a lot of people in the community. So if this person is looking for talents, let's say, that's kind of how I can help.
Yeah.
So I can help you with, okay, I can connect you to UX, I can connect you to WordPress developers, those things. Kasi those are the people I know. But you may also know people na wala akong alam at all. So, and then suddenly, kailangan ko pala. Then, okay, I'll take note in the future na pag ganito yung area, mag-reach out ako sa'yo.
Or sometimes
Yeah.
when you help somebody, they could say like, in the future, maybe you need something like this. You can always go back to me.
Yes.
Things like that.
Oh.
So
I-
everyone,
I
yeah.
have a story for
Oh, okay.
for that. So I have a friend. So I used to work for this Australian company, and that didn't last very long. I actually only worked for them for 6 months. But a few years later, one of my friends was looking for an opportunity to migrate to Australia. Actually, he was looking for work and an opportunity to migrate as well. So I said, all right, bahala na. Let's give you a referral to that company that I used to work for. It panned out na hire siya. He moved his family to Australia. And then I started realizing that he was also pulling other people, common friends namin, into Australia, and they were all moving there and
Iniwan na.
iniwan nila ako. Pero at least now every time I tell him na, hey, mag-visit ako sa Australia, magstay ka sa amin. Ganyan, kasi it's not just for you eh. It's that spreading of that goodwill, nagiging both personal and professional na benefit, alam mo yun, na you're just growing your network, and these people nagtatanaw sila ng utang na loob. They show their gratitude, they give you the referrals, kaya when the time that I needed help, they were there for me then.
Yeah.
They would give me referrals and things like that.
And from connections, it became like, long-term
Yes.
friendship na, di ba? Lifelong
Exactly,
friends
exactly.
and all. Quite interesting.
Oh, actually, building networks isn't just kasi if you always, so here's another, I guess I've learned when it comes to building networks, it's not just about trying to help. So, kasi trying to help to a point na what you don't want to happen is for it to become transactional.
Yes.
Kasi
yes.
that's a tendency when you are in a professional setting. It's sort of very transactional.
Yeah.
If it's something na it's either you pay it forward or
yes. That's exactly what I was thinking about. Is pay it forward.
yeah, paying it forward brings it to a whole new level.
Yes.
Mhm.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's talk about, because we've talked about connections, let's talk about common mistakes, right? Of people when it comes to networking. So ano yung mga experience naman ninyo that you can also share?
Yung some people medyo makulit. yung parang
Paano?
they would ask you, ay may opening ba dyan sa company niyo, and they'd ask you several times a year, and you're like, hindi yung skill set mo yung kailangan namin. Yan. So be respectful, definitely. Be read the room na if the person you're and honestly, kapag if there's something up for you, if I know of an opportunity or a referral or something that I can offer to help you, I'll give that. Pero kung wala talaga, 'di ba? Ganun.
Maybe in the future. You just keep
Yes,
in mind.
maybe
And
in the
then
future.
keep in
Exactly.
touch, di ba? Hindi yung one-off lang, uy, naka-benefit na ako. And then, goodbye. I
Yeah.
don't need anything from you anymore. No? I would say, like, respecting the time also. Like,
Yes.
di ba? Sometimes we would ping, like, really, really late in the evening or wee hours, and then you're expecting a response immediately. And when you don't get the response, parang, why aren't you even,
Yeah,
interacting,
nagde-demand.
answering, and
Nagde-demand,
things like
yeah.
that.
There was a time that I was it's actually long story short, don't let your title get into your head.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
another
that's
thing.
another thing. Kasi, okay, here's a funny story. So, actually, I frequent a particular startup mixer. So, they're still going, I mean, they're
Yeah.
still being done today. So, there was a time that, we had that conversation. I had that conversation with a friend that, hey, there's some startup founders who tend to throw their weight around saying,
Yes.
hey, I'm a CEO, I'm a CTO, etc. Okay, so should I start introducing myself as the janitor? So I actually did. I've been doing that for several years, especially with the new guys or new people coming in. I would come into their group, say, "Hi, I'm the janitor here." It's
How was the response?
they would laugh, and it's actually a good icebreaker.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, but it actually lowers the barrier to entry in terms of
Yeah.
because
For you.
people tend to be very guarded, especially
Yes.
the younger ones who are not very used to interacting with in a social setting. So that would make them feel that, hey, he's leveling with us.
Yes.
Yeah. Or yung mga parang awkward na to approach you because of the age.
There's that. But if you introduce yourself as, hey, I'm the janitor here.
Manong JP.
Tito. So usually tito, no? Pero I think sa part din na yun, no, like one mistake na lang din is that when we are here networking, we build connections, right?
Yes.
Sometimes we make mistakes na you introduce someone just because in that first few events at few moments that you got connected, this person could be of value. Pero you don't know actually ano yung background niya. So there is a potential mistake na you connect people but then the relationship turns sour or may background pala. Sometimes you don't know that. So what I do na lang, what I learned because it happened a few times na din, when you connect two new people, sometimes you have to be upfront. What's your relationship level with this person? Have you worked with this person?
Yes,
Or if you
yes,
have, ano yung naging experience mo? Or if it's totally no, just tell that person a potential connection, but you're not sure kasi I haven't worked with that person. So I learned that whenever you try to connect people, be upfront with what your relationship is with them. If you have common people, maybe if you want to validate, you can ask other people, but I'll make the connections for you. Parang that's what I learned then.